Welcome back. We go to the Ghana Stock Exchange to look at how the market fared in the trading session today. We see composite index inching up by 0.06 points and change year to date now at 30.76%. And this was as a result of the price change of the equity of Unilever that saw a share price inching up by 0.0 peso. And this brought market cap to 74.498 billion Ghana cedis. And volume of shares compared with yesterday, which recorded 66,000. Today we are doing 2.2 million shares exchanged on the market, value at 3.2 million Ghana cedis. Unilever, the only gainer for the day, registering a peso change in terms of its share price on the market today. There was no laggard, and most traded equities were MTN. The driver of most trader shares today were 2.1 million shares, Cowbank 59,000 shares, and GCB 30,720 shares, Societe Generale 1,012 shares, Standard Chartered Bank 14, Total 51, Goil 213, and Unilever 9,000 shares. So we've seen a mix of activities in terms of the various equities from different sectors of the economy. Telecom, we've seen Cowbank, also financial stock, and then Total Energy, Goil Energy, and then Unilever, the manufacturing sector. So this is phenomenal. So we're going for a short break. When we come back, my guest, Michael Amankwa, the Zen Riders, went from Accra to Kumasi to share with us what we need to do to address the issue of mental health among entrepreneurs.
I knew Legon was really beautiful.
Hello, welcome back to Market Event. Mike, great to have you in the studio once again.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
You took off from here and
Yeah.
back home, safe and sound.
Yes.
So you rode from Accra to Tamale. How was the trip?
It was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was challenging, but fulfilling.
How fulfilling was it?
It's priceless. It's one of those memories I think all of us will cherish forever.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, riding we rode 5 days in and then rode back 4 days.
Oh, when you were coming back, you did 4 days.
Yes,
Rather.
yes. Something interesting happened because when we got there, the plan was to do 5 days rest on the sixth day and then come back on another 5 days. But when we got there, the rest day we decided to use it to do outreach. Okay. So we went out to talk to people, students, radio, TV stations, just preaching the mental health message. Then we took the following day off, so which left us with only 4 days to ride back. So it's interesting lessons. But as we talk, I'll shed more light on that.
No. Let's go on. All right. Okay. So there are so many subjects out there. I decided to focus on mental health, and today we're looking at mental health among entrepreneurs. Let's do a correlation between what it did among young entrepreneurs in our part of the world.
So mental health, basically, it's about how we feel and how we think, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've been one since the past 30 years. So I understand what entrepreneurship is about. So if you don't feel right, you can't think straight, then how do you deliver on the agenda of being an entrepreneur? So that's the root cause, that's the root or the foundation of our existence and the things we do. A lot of times we think that it's about money. If you're an entrepreneur, once you have money, that's about it. But how do you even make money? And if you make the money, how can you sustain it, right? So at the foundation of it, which is what you're feeling right, which is physically healthy, and then mentally sound, where you have mental clarity to make the right decisions when you ought to. So that's where it connects when it comes to young people. And young people, too, a lot of times, you don't really know as much. All you have is the energy. You're bullish. You're driven. You want to go. You have that youthful exuberance. You have that
The vitality is there.
vitality. So you think that, oh, that's about it. But there's a strategy to it. I think when we take a seat back and we look at things, you realize that, okay, you know what? It's not about the force, but it's about the tact. It's about the strategy
I like that.
of which physical health and mental health, and you being in tune with your emotions and obviously your spirituality makes it all holistic.
Wonderful. Share with us some of the fond memories on the way from Accra to Tamale when you're riding.
I think some of the fun, some of the fun memories were primarily we had a lady with us, Anita Solomon, who's a banker with
I need to host
GTV.
one of these.
Yeah. She's you need to. And what was surprising is that anytime we rode past the communities, people were surprised to see a woman. So the moment they realized that there was a woman amongst the men, the cheering got louder.
Wow.
Right? It got louder. So that's from the south, from Accra going. But the moment from Kitampo going to Tamale, we realized that the cheers were not as loud as before, because when you're going up there, it's normal. So the dynamics in the same country, the dynamics are primarily different, right? So that was one big one. Then obviously the music teacher Julius, who is a giant, people seeing a giant on a bike, going through the motions, also was very inspiring, right?
Wow.
So, but we got to learn a lot about ourselves, because we came together as different people. You're talking about a music teacher, an entrepreneur, an architect, a security guard, and a banker. And then obviously the two cycling, professionals, coaches who guided us. So in essence, what we realized was, look, if there's a common goal and we all buy into it and we commit to it, we can actually succeed. And that's what we did.
All right, now let's look at a typical day in the life of an entrepreneur. How is it like? You have been that for 30 years. How is it like? And in terms of mental health?
Oh, I mean, you're constantly troubled. And especially when you're an entrepreneur in this part of the world where, Charlie, you're battling so many different things. You're talking, look, if the system, and if you're part of a system that is challenged, obviously you're going to be automatically challenged. And that's what sometimes people don't get. Okay. So, but if the system is working, is flourishing, then obviously the chances of you finding yourself in a good spot, is high. But if you find yourself in a system where it's challenged, obviously they're going to be challenged. And now when you're an entrepreneur and you have this vision that you're passionate about, you've vested all your time and resources into it, and it's not going according to plan, now that is where now the demons come in to play games with you in your mind, right? And then that's why if you're not solid in terms of you're not physically fit, you're not mentally sound, then those frustrations, you're going to take them onto your employees, take them onto your customers. And then once you take them onto your employees, then your employees are going to carry it forward to what? Dealing with your customers. So you see the ripple effect. So from the top, once he starts feeling it, because end of month is coming, you have to pay salaries, monies are not there, you don't even know how to make, do that. The debt, your creditors are chasing you. Utility bills are coming. It's difficult putting on the lights, so you have all of these things you're dealing with. So for you to be, to be the captain, you need to understand that, look, your mental health, your physical health, your emotions, and your spirituality. Remember the last time we met, I told you the 4 hills. These 4 things, they optimally have to be well oiled and pumped and optimally functioning at all points. Because as an entrepreneur, you have so many things coming at you. So for example, we had planned to do the challenge that we did. We planned to do 5 days in and 5 days out. But here we are, we had to change from 5 days back to 4. But because we were prepared through the trainings that we did, we had trained for 5 months.
Okay.
So physically we're fit, mentally we're all alert and sound, and emotionally we're all balanced, and spirituality obviously we're all up there, because we made sure that everybody prays and everybody made sure that because the risk and things like that. So we made sure all of it. So when the dynamics changed from 5 days to 4 days, we adapted.
Okay.
So that is the power of being physically healthy and mentally sound. But if you are not, okay, just like entrepreneurship, you're going to have your plans and things are going to come at you which are not part of how you planned. It means that you have to adapt. So if you're not mentally sound, you will not be able to adapt, and then you find yourself going south. Depression comes in, and look, it's common. It's common. I mean, I personally, I call it the hack of life. So what I do is I always ensure I have a big challenge ahead of me, just like what we did with the cycling. I did Kilimanjaro first, than I did with the cycling. So at any point in time, I have these big challenges ahead of me, which keeps me physically active.
Mm.
Means that every day or at least 5 times in a week,
Mhm.
I'm actually doing some physical activity. I'm also constantly checking my mental health at any point in time. Then the most important is my emotions. So after we came back from the challenge, I found myself feeling empty. Even though
Wow.
I was successful with the challenge, I realized I was beginning to feel lonely. I was
Wow.
beginning to feel
Why?
empty. I don't know, for some strange reason, when I'm supposed to be in a celebratory mode.
Mood.
But I realized that no, I was beginning to feel, but because I'm constantly checking my state of emotions, I realized that I was going down. So just yesterday night, about 2 a.m., I couldn't sleep. I was like, I need a big challenge because after the cycling, I don't have any other challenge. And you know what? I said, okay, I'm going to summit the 7 summits. The 7 summits are the highest mountains in all the 7 continents.
Wow.
So I have done Africa, which is Kilimanjaro. Then I have to do the other 7. So you're talking Australia, you're talking the Americas, you're talking about in Asia and all of that. Now to do that, I mean, that's Herculean. Obviously, the highest is Everest. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do Everest given where I am in age and all of that, but it's a good goal to have because physically it keeps me what?
Now, the
Then
ILO talks about the fact that with this headwind globally, financial and economic challenge are facing the world economy,
yeah.
entrepreneurs, especially young ones, are buffeted. Now, you were talking about doing physical activity and other things. So, what else can I do apart from doing physical activity to be sound and to drive the goal of making it in entrepreneurship space?
I think that fundamentally, from my experience, is for you to at any point in time know how you're feeling. It's about emotions. You need to know. So if you're feeling depressed, you're feeling trapped, what do? You need to find an escape. You need to know that, look, I'm having a mental health challenge. When we talk mental health, people always think is the extreme, the big disorders like bipolar, and all of those one people are, mad on the street, naked and all of that. No, but we all have different degrees of mental health challenge from time to time. So if you're an entrepreneur and things are not going according to plan, you are going to be feeling things. You need to know that you are feeling emotions that are not good. They are indicators of you not being in a good place. Because a lot of times you can realize that maybe you don't feel like eating. All of a sudden, the guy's CEO is refusing his lunch.
Mm.
That's a sign of him developing mental health challenges.
Wow.
But most people don't know, right? Or before, when he comes in the morning, he likes to have early morning meetings. All of a sudden, he's canceling them. So if he does that for like 2 weeks continuous, clearly he has a mental health challenge. But a lot of times people think that, oh, business as usual. So as an entrepreneur, you always need to you need to know how you are feeling. So I constantly ask myself. So that's how I was able to tell that I was beginning to feel lonely. I was beginning to feel depressed.
Can I come in now? Sorry to
Yeah.
cut you. How does holiday? What is the role of holiday in all these space?
Holiday counts. I tell people that if you are taking holiday, take a holiday where you're doing something super productive. Because you can take a holiday, go and eat any kind of food, put on weight, and then it affects
Your well-being.
your well-being,
Wow.
right? So if you're taking a break, take a break. But whilst taking that break, make sure you're active. Go for a walk, a run, walk on the beach, swim. But be active. There's a reason why you have to be physically active, which takes care of your physical health. Because if you're not physically healthy, it's obvious. You cannot be productive. You cannot be optimally productive. And if you're not lucky and you are bedridden, then what can you do? You can't really do much. So it's important that we appreciate our health. That good health is the foundation to you being a successful, entrepreneur. That's why in the West you realize that quite a number of the CEOs will have like gyms in their office. They have treadmills, they have punching bags and things like that because they understand that at any point in time they need to be physically well as well as mentally sharp. And the mentally sharp one is key because physically you can easily tell that physically you're not feeling well and all of those things. But mentally, if you're not mentally well, if it's not extreme, you're not going to realize that you are not mentally there. So it's important that you are fully aware of your mental state at any point in time, and then you're able to do what you ought to do.
With this, with the technological advancement, we are being bombarded with a lot of information. How do you make sure that with all these information, you are able to keep yourself as an entrepreneur and do the balance so that some of the information you receive can easily trigger so many things.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you choose what you are supposed to choose?
I call it
and
living
stay
a
on
life
course?
of intentionality.
Okay.
That's what I do with my life. I mean, like Every day I know what I am about. So it's about knowing what your purpose is and what your day you're supposed to do in line with your purpose. So that way I know that in the mornings I need to command my morning by making sure I do my physical activity, take care of my mental health by reading, my quiet time and those things.
Prayer and all
I
this.
prayers and I do that religiously because it sets the tone for the day. Okay. And every day I reset it. So sometimes people will do these things, but they are not religious, or they're not religious about it. So today they do, tomorrow they don't do, and then they have breaks. You cannot do that. You have to be disciplined and consistent. Then the second one is you have to be deliberate about knowledge acquisition.
That's it.
Knowledge acquisition. So once you know your purpose, you know what your goals are, then you start acquiring knowledge in line with those goals and purposes. So I, for example, in the past 18 months, I've read 77 books. Okay. And these books are all in line with what my goals and objectives are. So by so doing, I'm constantly motivated and excited and hopeful, right? So no matter the storms and the tsunamis that come at me, I'm already excited and confident because of the knowledge that I'm acquiring. And here's the beautiful thing. Not only do you have to acquire knowledge, once you start acquiring knowledge, you become imaginative. And that's where you start finding solutions to problems that other people can't. And that's where you become successful as an entrepreneur. But you have to be intentional and deliberate about it.
Mike, I think we need to just have every month. I'm putting it to that you see we need to do some every month a show on this platform to just to look at mental
I'm
issues.
all yours, my brother.
Because the business people out there need to make it.
No, it's important, and we need to have the conversations. And we men, we don't talk about our emotions. So you see how I talked about how I was feeling right after the event. But a lot of men, by virtue of society and culture and all of that, we are not expressive, right? And even it represented itself whilst we were even riding to Tamale and back. As we were riding, Anita was the only lady amongst the riders. And then we're 7, so 6 guys and 1, okay? And we, the guys, were doing much. So even though we were tired and fatigued, none of us was showing any sign of fatigue. We kept pedaling. But Anita would say, guys, I'm tired. I need a break. Then, sometimes when we are riding, we're like, Anita, are you not tired? Because we need Anita to how we can use it. So the lady is able to
express
herself. And that's how it's supposed to be. So as guys, as an entrepreneur, or, if you're a guy, you're a husband, or whatever it is, express how you feel, because the more we contain it, the more damage we do to ourselves.
Give me on your ride, you're doing the ride. Did you get to a point like, Charlie, this one we've taken too much? Can we return?
No, I think no. There was no point where I was in doubt. I think every morning the most difficult part for me was the first 5 minutes.
The first 5 minutes.
The first 5
when
minutes.
You took off from Accra.
No, so every day, the very 5 minutes of our ride, starting the ride, was the most difficult. Because at that point, I'm like, I have 7 hours ride ahead of me. I have 6 hours. So when I look at it, it's like so far away. So then I had to now start psyching myself up, preparing my mindset to go through those long hours. But it wasn't about physical tiredness or fatigue. It wasn't that. But it was more about waiting. And that's where it becomes boring. And you're pedaling, right? You're pedaling. But then you waiting for that long, that's where the challenge was for me.
Wow. Mike, we need to come back again. There's so much we need to share about your trip. Yes. It's a pleasure having you in the studio.
It's an honor, sir.
Great.
Thank you,
sir. So we've been talking to Michael Amankwa, calling Don Miller. He rode a bike together with his colleagues, friends, from Accra to Tamale, back in 9 days, 10 days. That's phenomenal. So God will come here again tomorrow. Let's market event. My name is Edward Nyako. Shalom.